everybody, and welcome to another Work It Wednesday brought to you by Dressage Addict. This is the second of the two parts about medium trot. So today we're looking at how to improve the medium trot on a horse that already understands the concept. You just want a little bit more wow factor. So I have 4 exercises that I did in the video. It is very short and sweet because, as you will see, I was getting absolutely soaked to the skin and my phone was starting to not be very happy about it. So we're going to have a little look at these 4 exercises above, and then I added 2 top tips onto the bottom. They're things that I was really thinking and focusing about when I was riding the medium trots in this video. So the transition into and out of your medium trot steps is part of the mark for your medium trot. So you don't want a sloppy transition in or a resistance transition out. And you'll see a few of the transitions Lara did were quite sort of resistant. She was putting her head up, shaking it around a bit, which is not ideal. And to get good steps, you have to have a good transition into the steps. So make sure you work on those transitions into and out of. And then, although as you go across the diagonal, you do keep asking for the medium steps so that they don't just fade away, be mindful of whether you're asking for more medium steps or whether you're starting to rush the horse out of balance in the medium steps. So just 2 things to think about when you're practicing your medium trot. So let's have a look at the exercises. So in this first clip, it is just an idea of how Lara's medium trot starts out at the beginning of a session. This was the very first one I asked for. I was absolutely thrilled with it, to be honest, as a first one. I felt it was a bit of a slow transition in and a bit of a slow transition out, but I would take that because you can just develop that as the session goes on. So the first exercise I do is shoulder in. Just normal shoulder in helps get the horse sat up off the inside leg and into the outside rein, using the outside rein to stabilise them. Unless your horse is stabilised in the outside rein, you will not have a straight and through medium trot. So make sure you've got your shoulder in sorted before you start doing your medium steps. And then I start to ask for medium steps within the shoulder in. Obviously they're not true medium steps, but it's asking for that push like you'd get from the hind end in a medium step from the inside leg through to the outside rein. So it's just asking that inside leg to push, step further under and flex a bit more, meaning it will be more engaged when you come to do a medium trot across the diagonal. And a good way to develop your medium trots a bit more is to do shoulder in into the medium steps. So it just means you've got that shoulder. I didn't give myself much space there and then ended up with a really bad transition out. So that's what happens when you don't prepare your transition out and you have to go to the hand. No good transition ever comes from a hand aid. So that's why you need to practice your transitions out so that when you apply the seat aid, the horse listens and you don't end up just pulling to get the backwards transition. Then I look at some leg yield with some medium steps again. But like you can see, they're not true medium steps. It's just the concept of pushing and engaging the hind quarters more into that outside rein. And the lateral aspect just means the horse can't run away from you. Like if you ask in a straight line, they've got a straight path to just run away. But the lateral steps means it keeps them underneath you even though you're pushing. Now here I try and do an on and back exercise, and as you can see, it doesn't go too well. I end up with fighting transitions in and fighting transitions out, which is just not what we want. But this is a good example of why you have to practice this. The on and back can be really good to sharpen horses up because you keep going forward, forward, forward. So a pony that you've got that is a bit lazy and behind the leg, it can really help develop their reaction to the leg and you get a much sharper transition into the medium steps. And hopefully it makes them a little bit buzzy and then you get a bigger medium step. For a horse like Lara, it can just cause her to boil over, but she does have to practice the backwards transitions. So I try with these to make it an allowing on. So rather than kicking her forward into a medium step, I just allow her to take a bigger, more forward step. And then I can practice the backwards transition. And it's trying to get the backwards transition to come from the leg and the seat aid. Like there, you can just see she just starts to step up and back off the leg and the seat. I know she is faffing around with the head but it's just the principle that she starts to tune into the seat rather than just waiting for a hand aid to pull her back. We ignore that. She just got confused and popped into canter. In fact, it was a really lovely transition if I'd have been asking for it. So no corrections, just ask again. She'll give you the correct answer. So if you've got a lazy pony with the on and back exercise, focus more on making the on sharp and off the leg, and the backwards, you don't want them to fade back. And if you've got a sharp horse, focus more on allowing them forwards, and then you want them off the seat and the leg for the backwards transition. So it's just altering the exercise to develop what your horse most needs to practice. And here we're going to start having a look at some medium steps on a 20-metre circle. The circle just means that the inside hind leg has to flex and step under more, meaning it tends to push better. Again, the horse just doesn't run away the same way they can do on a straight line. A straight line just encourages them to run forward and onto the forehand, whereas the circle element just keeps them a little bit more sat up and engaged and underneath. And that is what Lara's medium trot looks like after a bit of work, and you can see the transition back was much sharper and much softer. So I actually called it quits there because it was getting disgusting weather. So just to recap, we're looking at shoulder in to keep them sat up and on the outside rein. Then you can ask for medium steps within the shoulder in to encourage the inside hind leg to push. Leg yield with the medium trot steps to allow you to get more leg on. Again, push with the inside hind. And also both those lateral steps will stop the horse running away from you. Then you're looking at on and back. You can do it in a straight line, but also on a circle. I find a circle a bit easier because, again, the horse doesn't run away. If your horse is lazy, focus more on the on. If your horse is sharp, focus more on the back. You want smooth but sharp transitions for both. And finally, your medium trot on the circle to develop the push and the engagement of the hind leg. So I hope that's all been helpful. If you have any questions, do just ask, and don't forget the top tips at the bottom. Thank you for watching.